Welcome to Hidden Treasures, where we tell stories of lost treasures, lost mines, interesting stories that I find interesting, and hopefully you do too. Today we're telling the story of America's first serial killer family, the Bloody Benders. Hope you enjoy the story. In the spring of 1873, two brothers, Ed York and Colonel Alexander York, a very well-known Kansas state senator, traveled between Independence and Fort Scott, Kansas. They had a group of 50 men, and they were looking for their brother who had gone missing just 2 months before. Their brother had gone missing while searching for his friend and daughter who had also mysteriously gone missing. On March 28, 1873, Colonel York came across the Bender Inn. He stayed one night to the hospitality of John Sr., John Jr., Elvira, and the daughter Kate. By all accounts, this evening was very pleasant. They served him dinner. He ate dinner with the family. Elvira didn't speak at all. They told him that she didn't speak any English, and the next morning he got up and left. Just a few days after he left the inn, he was informed that a young woman had almost been murdered at the inn by Elvira. Colonel York immediately returned to the inn to confront Elvira and find out what happened. She told him in English that the woman was a witch and had tried to curse her coffee. She also offered to use her clairvoyant powers to help the colonel find his brother. The men that the colonel were traveling with knew that the Benders and their neighbors were responsible for this, and they wanted to execute them on the spot. Colonel York demanded that they have proof, though. He wanted to know for sure that these are the people that kidnapped his brother. The locals still weren't entirely bought in on the idea, though. They held a meeting to try and blame the Osage natives in the area for the disappearances. Several of the Benders were also at this meeting and also tried to pin it on the natives. Colonel York was also a lawyer, and in order to weed out the Benders, he decided that he was going to get a search warrant for all of the houses in the area so he could go to the houses one by one and search each house, including the Benders. A few days after this, a local was driving cattle near the Bender Inn when he noticed that the inn was completely deserted and that the animals had not been fed in several days. Colonel York and the locals descended on the Bender Inn over the next few days and just started digging up the area. They ended up finding at least 11 bodies buried in the orchard. This is how they determined that it went. The Benders would welcome their victims into the inn and fix them a meal for dinner. They would have the victim sit at the head of the table, which was directly in front of a canvas, thus casting a shadow of their head onto the canvas that was behind them. Behind the canvas, either John Sr. or John Jr. would be standing wielding a hammer. When the time was right, the person behind the canvas would hit the victim in the back of the head, rendering them either dead or unconscious, and then they would come out and someone would grab a knife and cut their throat. They also had a hidden trap door underneath the cabin. They would open it up, roll the victim into the hole, close it up, and leave them there to die. Once they were dead, the family of victims would scavenge their body and take all of the money or any valuables that they had. It was also determined that a lot of the victims weren't even rich, didn't have much money on them, and that the Benders probably just did this for fun. To this day, no one knows what happened to the Benders. Either they got away, but because there is no record of them showing up anywhere at all, this leads to speculation that the locals actually caught the Benders and got rid of them. I hope you enjoyed the story today. If so, don't forget to like, leave comments, subscribe. Thanks for watching.